Hey everyone, this is Tiqqle, and in this video we're going to review all the legendaries for Enhance. I'm going to rank them for PvE and PvP so that you have an idea of what you're getting into in Shadowlands and what one you will be interested in focusing on first. I'll explain the pros and the cons and why I would recommend getting certain ones first, second, and so on. So let's go ahead and jump into it. The number one thing you need to know about legendaries is they're changing how fast you can get them. It used to be that you'd be able to get one in the first week, another one in the second week, and so on, or rank them up. They've changed that so far so that you can't get one in the first week. You have to wait until the second week to be able to get it. And now you might be saying, like, well, what's time gating you? Well, it's the Soul Ash coming from Torghast. You're going to have to do Torghast every week for Soul Ash. You get that from doing a certain difficulty of Torghast, and you can only get so much a week. I'll make a different video on that when that is stabilized, but basically all you need to know is it's not as bad as Visions, but it is going to be something that you have to do every single week. Now let's go ahead and just jump into the legendaries. I'll give you my review of each of them. You've probably seen me play them on stream or on other videos, but I'll rank them in my current stance on which priority I would give it to you, or I would pick them up. Now I want to let you know, we stream every day, twitch.tv/tiqqle this at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've been doing Mythic Raid testing. I'm going to do a different video on that, but let me know, guys, what ones you think, or come by the stream and have a discussion about it. I would love to talk to you about it. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. Number one, Deeply Rooted Elements. This is one that is a general legendary that you might think, hey, I'm going to play multiple specs of Shaman. Maybe this is a good one to pick up. Well, we'll talk about it. And just so you know, multi-speccers out there for Shaman, I know there's a lot of you that play Ellie and Resto, Enhance Ellie, Enhance Resto. The only difficulty here is you're going to have to pick your first legendary, like that you get for, the first week that you get to max level, or the second week. Which one are you going to get first? Because you can't really choose one that is across all the specs unless you choose one of the general ones. And that's where this one comes in. This is a general one that could be useful across all the specs. My current review of it, and I know I've talked about it before, is that right now Ellie feels pretty decent with it. And the way this works is that every lava burst you cast has a chance to proc Ascendance for 6 seconds. When for example, when Ellie pops it, you get instant damage. When Resto pops it, you get instant healing. And when Enhanced, the purpose of this video, you get instant AoE damage. And your Storm Strike is converted to Wind Strike, which does more damage and ignores armor. Now, for this one, I'm going to rank these in terms of S, A, B tiers, okay? That's how I'm going to review them. For this one, I'm going to be ranking this into the B tier. The reason for that is that I truly think that this is an awesome potential legendary. I think that it is a lot of potential fun, but the problem is it's so RNG that you don't really get much use out of it if it doesn't proc. I've run this through Mythic dungeons multiple times, and some dungeons I get it to proc 4 times. Sometimes I get it to proc 6 times. But in general, 4 to 6 times of a random proc, what if it procs off of like a bug that I Storm Strike, right? What if it gets procced off of a single ad that gets pulled, not the massive AoE? Because it's RNG, you can't really plan for it. And because of that, if it's not proccing often enough to ensure you get value out of it in Mythic Pluses, I don't personally think it's going to be that good for PvP. Or sorry, PvE. So I'm going to rank it as a B, which is the lowest tier I'm going to judge. I think it's very fun when it procs. How do I think they could change it? I think Ascendance, the duration needs to go up because 6 seconds is not that long, especially if it gets put on cooldown, if Wind Strike gets put on cooldown. Right? Like you're going to be only able to get probably 2 or 3 out. I have had Ascendance proc another Ascendance, so I get a proc of Ascendance, and then while I'm in that Ascendance, it procs another one. That's fun. But in general, they could increase the duration, and they can make it proc much more often. Or make it so it just procs and does the AoE pulse at a higher proc chance, but doesn't give me the Ascendance form itself. I also know many of you don't like the graphics of the Ascendance form, and I kind of get it, and I agree with you. It doesn't look that great, and they haven't gotten a facelift in a hot minute. But that's that one. Let's move on to the next. And by the way, PvP, this is so RNG, I would, again, caution against this. If Enhance proves to be able to stand up to the test of time in terms of uptime and being able to survive, which we know that's a challenge, I could say it could be fun in long games to get multiple procs, but And for now, I would recommend not for PvP. So no PvP. I would say this isn't really good for PvP at all. Now, Doom Winds. The next one up on the list is Doom Winds. This is when you drop Wind Fury. You get a 100% chance to proc Wind Fury. You also get increased Wind Fury damage by 25%. This is probably the best one in general to go. I'm putting this at the S tier. I think this is very, very good. I think that this is something where it's an on-demand damage. The damage is insane. It's still very good even after nerfs to this legendary and to Wind Fury weapon. I think this is still a very good and high damage legendary. I used it in the raid test. It did a lot of damage still. Probably the best single target one out of this entire list. And it's just awesome to have Wind Fury be that damage. It's also not difficult to utilize because it's just buffing those melee attacks, which means that you just have to keep meleeing, and that's that. Now, let's go ahead and move on. I think this is S tier for PvE. I think it's S tier for PvP as well. I think it's very good as for an offensive in PvP. Now, the next one is Legacy of the Frost Witch. Consuming 5 stacks of Maelstrom weapon will reset the cooldown on Storm Strike and cause your next Storm Strike to deal 15% increased damage. Many of you remember, this used to deal 100% increased damage, but they nerfed it down to 15%. The main value of this legendary, though, is that it resets your Storm Strike. So usually when you go this, you will be rocking and rolling Elemental Assault, which also gives you a plus 15% damage to Storm Strike and makes it so it generates Maelstrom, basically feeding back into this legendary for letting you spend it more to get more buffed versions. It's actually still very good. I had my highest pull in the Mythic raid test with this legendary on, and it was single target. I was hitting 2 targets, but it was single target. I think this is actually S tier. I think this one is actually quite good, and I think this will likely be the AoE option that we're going to be picking. But even for single target, it still has legs, and I like it a lot. The fact that you reset Storm Strike will make it so you have a much smoother rotation, and I recommend you guys, this is going to be one you're going to want to try out, because if you say that Enhance has dead globals, this will make you in control of when you get an additional Storm Strike that does more damage. So it's quite good. Now, so in PvP, I think this one's okay for PvP, but the fact of the matter is you have to have momentum to make value out of this. You have to be able to stack those Maelstrom stacks, which means you need melee uptime, and you need to be able to not be stunned or getting just dumpstered, right? So you need to be careful about this one. PvP, I'm cautious on this one. I wouldn't rank it an S for PvP. I'd rank this more of a B for PvP, right? So yeah, so PvP, I would do a B. For Doom Winds, I'm doing PvP. I would do an S tier as well, and then I would do this one as B for PvP as well. It's just, you know, and I know I'm doing this in paint. Make fun of me all you want, but it is what it is. Next one's Primal Lava Actuators. Each time Lava Shock deals periodic damage, increases the damage of your next Lava Lash by 12%, but it also reduces the cooldown of Lava Lash by 0.5 seconds. I personally think that this legendary is constructed in a way to increase lava burst or lava lash damage. But my problem with it is that it reduces the cooldown of lava lash. So I'm going to be lava lashing more often. So it's unlikely if I'm going to be just sitting around waiting for this global like to use lava lash until it's at max stacks, unless you're trying to burst. Now, this does have some value with Hot Hand. We've been doing some testing on the beta, and we've been seeing that Hot Hand single target, Cess, you specifically, he was telling me, dude, it's actually doing pretty well single target, but I haven't tested it yet, and truthfully, it's just strange to me. If I get 3 Flame Shocks out, I'm going to have a very fast Lava Lash. And my damage of it is going to overall go up, but I'm not going to cap out on those stacks before it's off cooldown. So I'm putting this one at a question mark for PvE. I don't really understand. I think that I would really prefer them to just make it so the damage goes up even more and them not reduce the cooldown. This one's an oddball to me. We haven't tested it enough, but it just seems weird. Every time I've used it, I haven't liked it, but maybe there's a place for it. Let me know what you guys think down in the description. I would almost rather this spreads Flame Shock for us so that we can do some other things like using Fire Nova. I'd rather them have it some interaction between these, which isn't just ramping damage, but spreading damage. That would be really cool to me, like Light the Forest to Flame. You know what I'm saying? For PvP, I'm putting this as B tier. It's just I think it's going to be working with Hot Hand, and I just don't think it's going to be very good at all. for PvP. I could be totally wrong, but so far I'm not impressed. And the use of hot hands is so RNG, and PvP RNG is not really that good of a thing. So next up is Witch Doctor's Wolf Bones. As you might have known in my last video where I talked about the changes in the beta in the latest build, Feral Spirits got increased in their damage. They went from doing, I think it was like 30% of attack power to 250% attack power scaling. The reality of it is this legendary's fun. The fact you get more Maelstrom Weapon is kind of noticeable, I think, but it also definitely is noticeable that you reduce the Feral Spirits cooldown every time you get that stack, because you can use Feral Spirits like 3 times in a boss fight. And we were doing like a plus 14 or 13 or 12 or something. And I got it off like 3 times because I was generating that much Maelstrom Weapon. But in reality, the buff to Feral Spirits is not a big deal. Like their damage is just not noticeable. It does about 6k damage on press. That's not that big of a deal for a 1.5 minute cooldown. Or it's reduced if you take the talent Elemental Spirits, which is the only way you could run this. But the rework of Feral Spirits was not what everybody asked for. Everyone was looking for something to change inherently about the spec or about the talent or something to make it a little bit more flavorful and interactive. It wasn't the case. So I actually think that this one is actually very fun to play, but I don't know if it's going to be outpacing the other ones. Again, it's going to be based on the RNG talent, Elemental Spirits, right? And then the damage of Feral Spirits is just questionable right now. So I'm going to put it at A for PvE. And for PvP, I'm going to be putting it at a B tier. I think that it might find a place if the dogs end up doing some damage. But again, Maelstrom Weapon stacks and getting that momentum is going to be a challenge for Enhanced Shamans in PvP. I think that that's going to be the critical point of that. And because they just buffed healing, you're going to be wanting that momentum, but I don't know how easy it's going to be to attain it when Shadowlands comes live. Now, let's go ahead and review the last one. This is going to be pretty much a PvP only review, but this is for the Earthen Harmony. Earth Shield healing is increased by 150% if you have Earth Shield on a target that's below 75% health. Now, I'm going to be real with you. This is an S tier. This is S tier because it still does so much healing. It's still popping for like 5 to 6k heals when you get hit if you're below 75%. That's not the 12k where it was a while ago, but it's still very good. And in PvP, this is probably going to be the #1 legendary that you're going to be picking. So this is still very good. And defensively, we all know Enhanced Shamans need a little bit of love in the defense department. We haven't attained that. We haven't achieved that. So because of that, we need something to compensate, which is this Earth Shield Restoration Legendary, which you can equip cross spec. That's another question people have asked. Now let's go ahead and I want to tell you which order I would say you should be getting these in. Now, I really do recommend that if I'm going into this and I'm PvEing, my #1 legendary I'm going to get is Doomwinds. Why? Because you can't really mess it up. It doesn't modify your rotation very much. You need to be using it when you're going for the burst. But to be honest, this is going to be increasing that melee damage, that proc rate, etc. I think this is the one you want to go for. #1 is Doomwinds. It will increase the single target. It'll increase your momentum. The fact that you're getting more win for your procs will proc Storm Strike more. And it's really just the best option, is just the truth of the matter. If I was to get a second one for PvE, I would say this one, the Legacy of the Frost Witch, because that can be pretty smooth and pretty fun, and especially for cleaving, if you're not going Hailstorm. Because it's a little bit different for Hailstorm. I like this more for the Storm Strike build, but Hailstorm's obviously still very, very good. But I would run Doomwinds with Hailstorm, to be honest. That's what I've been running anyway. All right, and then after that, you can do whatever you want. Right, but those are the first two if you're going to focus on which ones for PvE. Now for PvP, truthfully, you have a choice to make. Do you want to go for the offensive one or the defensive one? If you're going to do both PvE and PvP, which everyone's going to have to, I would recommend go to Doomwinds first. Again, you want to be able to do those dungeons, the raids, and pump out the damage. But the next one you need to get is this one. This is going to be a big deal for a long time unless they don't allow us to put on legendaries from other specs. It just does so much healing, and I'll put up a video of me testing this out in full. But really, the healing of a shaman, that's where we're going to get our defensives, it seems like, for Shadowlands. And this is really the key of that. The other thing you have to remember for this one, especially for PvP, is you can put it on your teammates. Let's say you're playing any shaman spec. Maybe you're playing, let's say, Enhance, Affliction, and they're focusing your Affliction lock. Put your Earth Shield on him. He's going to get just as much healing as you would through that Earth Shield. You're actually going to help out a lot. Shaman is going to bring Earth Shield. If you're able to use this on any spec, it's actually going to make Shamans a desirable partner for many classes, because you're going to have this type of a defensive healing, which is going to be crazy. And it's not going to take from your healer's mana pool. It refreshes very easily. Your side heals are going to be crazy right now. So all these things together are going to make Shaman, they're going to be good. Like, they're going to be pretty desirable. The only problem is in their own defensives, right? Like, they are damage reduction defensives, which they only have one of. But otherwise, they have a lot of healing and a lot of potential. So guys, with that being said, those are the legendaries. That's how I'm ranking them, and that's the order in which I would get them, depending on if you're doing PvE or PvP. That's what I think. Let me know what you think. Put it down in the comments below. And I know if you guys haven't subbed to the channel yet, I would really appreciate that sub. If you want to hear more about Shaman or more about Shadowlands, I'll be doing videos almost every day, streaming every day, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on twitch.tv/tiqqlethis. We have some big announcements coming up, but I appreciate the love and support, and we will see you guys in the next video or on stream. Thank you to the Twitch subs. Thank you to the Patreons and the monthly stickers going out soon. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.